Good morning. This is Judge Middleton. Who am I speaking with? You're listed as call-in user number 1. Good morning, Autumn.
Morning.
I've got Drew Neidlinger in the waiting room. That's Daniels. I've got call-in user number 1. I'm not sure who that is. And that's it. We're trying to figure out who this is. Call-in user, here's Amanda Shelton. Who am I speaking with? Gary Cannon?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. I'll give you a name, Mr. Cannon.
I'm sorry, I can't get my Zoom thing to work. I keep downloading an app and it keeps going to some other Google or Zoom thing. And
all right, well, stay right where you are.
yes,
Here
sir.
is Amanda Shelton, Daniel Frazine, Drew Neidlinger. Going to turn the record on. It's 9:27. We are live on YouTube and we are on the Zoom platform. Good morning. This is Judge Middleton. I'm here at the court in Centerville. And we're at various locations. We have Mr. Drew Neidlinger. We have Gary Cannon. We have Amanda Shelton. And we have a couple people that we're missing. We have Probation Officer Daniel Frazine and Probation Officer Autumn Kiefer here. Let's start with Ms. Shelton. What you're all here for is a probation violation arraignment. There is an allegation that you have violated your probation, and your probation officer has filed a petition alleging that. It is just an allegation. Right now, I'm advising you of what the allegation is. You have a right to have a hearing regarding a probation violation. Here's Miranda. And you have a right to have an attorney to assist you. In each of these cases, the counsel is, or the probation agent is recommending a jail sentence for your varying alleged violations. At the probation violation hearing, the prosecution and the probation would have to establish beyond a preponderance you violated your probation. You're not entitled to have a jury trial at such a probation violation hearing, but you are entitled to have an attorney. If you ask me, I can appoint one. Ms. Shelton, we're going to start with you. Ms. Rawson, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, hang with us here. Ms. Shelton, you were put on probation on a methamphetamine charge in March. Your probation officer
Me, Your Honor.
is Matt Huff. I can't see his name on here anywhere. I don't have the signature page, but anyway, it's Matthew Huff. He alleges that you were put on probation for use of methamphetamine. The charge originally was a felony. It was reduced to a misdemeanor use charge. And that you violated your probation by failing to abstain from the use of alcohol, submitting positive or diluted samples. You tested positive for meth on April 26th, May 2nd. You're positive for marijuana on April 27th and May 10th. I'm less concerned about the marijuana as I am the methamphetamine. I remember this case, and you maintained that you didn't really have a methamphetamine problem. It was all a big mistake. You had a large quantity, a relatively large quantity of methamphetamine in your presence and possession, but you indicated you didn't really use it. I'm not sure I bought that. Your probation officer is recommending that I revoke your probation and impose 90 days of reserved jail time. Ms. Shelton, are you still at the Linden Drive address?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you wish to admit to this violation, or do you wish to have a hearing and have me appoint an attorney to assist you with this?
mean, I'm not trying to lie to anybody or to avoid the situation. I mean, I did have dirty drops, and I'm not trying to get out of it or be dishonest with you. I've been forward with Matt, you know, from day one with my dirty drops and whatnot. So.
All right, well, I'll accept your plea if you want me to, but I want you to know that I could appoint an attorney to assist you. The law changed. Matt's recommendation is we simply just drop the hammer and revoke the probation. Earlier this year, the law changed, which prescribed the judge's ability to do things on probation violations, and you get a continued chance. So what that would mean is that the first offense, I could do a 5-day jail sentence and continue your probation. We would schedule the 5 days, either all at once or on weekends, and you would still be on probation. Having told you that, does that change your mind about whether you want me to appoint an attorney for you?
And I'm opposed to taking the 5 days and staying on probation.
All right.
Or like
All right,
I would take that.
Other than what I just told you, did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this? You shook your head no. You have to speak your answer.
Your Honor,
Yes?
I do want to know, I think this is the second probation violation.
All right. That's good to know. I don't think it changes my opinion here, but thank you, Matt.
Okay.
Let me look. All right, so Amanda, are you willing to admit to this, that you used methamphetamine and marijuana in April and May? I can't hear you. Amanda, I can't hear you. Oh, she's frozen. Now we lost her.
Sorry, my phone keeps going in and out.
Okay. Are you willing to admit that violation? All right. What's up with you, Amanda? I know you're struggling, and methamphetamine isn't something you just turn off like a switch, but you were minimizing your involvement in it, and it sounds to me like you're still struggling. Are you working someplace?
I mean, I'm struggling. I'm working at Precision.
All right. Matt, do you have good communication with her?
Yes, I have good communication with Ms. Shelton.
Amanda,
She had indicated that maybe she didn't want to continue. I just want to put that on the record. My recommendation was just given the fact that Ms. Shelton was not wanting to continue on probation. That's why I recommended what I did based on our previous conversations.
well, and you make a telling point here. She needs probation to get sober. But if she doesn't want to become sober, then perhaps we just do a lengthy jail sentence to think about where she wants to be in her life. I think you hit the nail right on the head. So, Amanda, are you willing to continue the probation?
Want to go down the straight and narrow. I don't want to have to keep using, but the probation between CMH and all this, it's too much. It's like I have no money. I'm pulling money out of my butt that I don't have.
I can waive some of the money, but you're not going to get off methamphetamine unless somebody like me is behind you poking you in the butt with a stick. You're just going to continue to backslide into full-blown rock bottom. Matt is trying to do a good job to stay on top of this, but you can't do this by yourself. All right, so we've got a difficult connection. I want to make sure we're on the same wavelength. Do you want me to accept your plea to the probation violation? Amanda?
Yeah.
All right, you want me to accept your plea? This is very difficult.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do against Matt's better judgment, but we'll try. If there's another one, we probably will just revoke it. 5 days credit, 0 to be scheduled by the probation department. 0 fine and cost. Probation is continued. I would like to see you get out of the pit. Matt's not out to get you. He wants you to get better.
I know Matt has been working with me, and I appreciate that.
Well,
He's a
let's
good
see
man.
if we can, let's see
I
if
don't
we can
think he
work
has
on
enough-
the money part. I will try to waive some financial obligations if I can. All right, Amanda, you're still on probation. You need to contact Matt. He's going to schedule when you're going to do those additional days in jail. You still need to test. You still need to go to treatment. Also, put the weed down. If you weren't on probation, it would be lawful for you to use marijuana. Right now, it's not, because it triggers some of the same addiction responses as the other things. So you can't drink alcohol, you can't smoke weed, and you certainly can't use meth. So whoever's sharing these with you is no friend of yours. It will put them in jail. All right, Matt's gonna I want you to call Matt. We'll put it on you, and we'll schedule that jail time. Your probation is continued. Amanda, you're free to go. Anything to add, Matt?
No, that's it. I'll deal with Miss Shelton a little bit later today. We'll get everything sorted out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Amanda. Let me remove you. All right, we're going to deal with an older case. In fact, our oldest case. File 18371FY is People versus Drew Neidlinger. Mr. Neidlinger is here. I saw him back in 20. That time you were living on 29th Street in South Bend. Are you still there?
At the moment, I'm in a rehab facility. And then when I leave here, I'm probably going to a 6-month to 2-year program. Or I am going to a 6-month, 2-year program.
All right, 16, 21. So what's your address?
Well, my current address is still 1219 South 29th Street,
All right.
but I don't believe I'm going to go back to the house.
All right, and what's the name of the facility you're in?
Recovery Works
Good for
in
you.
Maryville, Indiana.
Well, that's all a good plan, except for this. This is file 183176. You were put on probation for a charge of larceny over 200 but less than 1,000. You stole about $12,000 in some scheme involving checks. I felt you got an awfully sweet deal from the prosecutor by having a misdemeanor charge. I thought this would have appropriately been a felony. I put you on probation, ordered that you pay restitution. And then you fell off the map in March, April, May. Then we heard in May that you were in a rehab program. So far, you've paid $50 restitution on a $12,000 debt. So Daniel is simply recommending we give you 323 days in jail and revoke your probation and call it good. That's one form of rehab, forced sobriety. You've done about less than 0, maybe 0.2 above 0 regarding this probation. The only reason you were put on probation was to pay restitution. Now, obviously, you're struggling with addiction, and I commend you for trying to do something about it. But you got this felony reduced to a misdemeanor, and you've had zero consequence. I'm not even sure how many days you spent in jail.
Spent 40.
40, I guess, so there's some consequence. But I put you on probation, you haven't done anything. So, except be in Indiana and struggle with your addiction. I'm pleased that you're here. Frankly, I didn't expect you to show up. And even more so, I'm pleased that you're in a rehab program.
The rehab I'm going to after this, I'm eligible to work there. So that's what I want to do, to get my life back on track and get this paid off, stop having this hang over my head. You're correct, I did fall off. And I was struggling with addiction. That's why I'm here.
What are you struggling with? Opioids or meth?
Yes, sir. Opiates.
Okay. One of the things about this case is I think you're the only one there were a bunch of other guys involved in this elaborate check scam, and you're the only one that got caught. I think, but nonetheless, these businesses here in St. Joe County were out $12,000. Somebody got a bunch of free money. My recommendation, Mr. Neidlinger, is we appoint an attorney to help you. Or your original attorney was Christine Yancey, and set this for a probation violation hearing. The recommendation is a lengthy jail sentence.
Right.
All right, I'll show you plead not guilty. Appoint attorney and set a PV hearing. I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Daniel. You haven't reported in several months. I want to get your phone number, email address, and all that information so he can contact you further. But I'm happy to hear you're working on your recovery. Maybe there's a light at the end of this tunnel other than a lengthy jail sentence. But right now, you mostly skated on a large felony case that was reduced to a misdemeanor. So I'm going to let you talk to Daniel. We'll get that information, and then you're going to be free to go. And I'm glad you're working at it. All right, Dan, I'll put you in there so you can get that current information.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
How you doing, Daniel? Oh.
All right, we'll set that for a hearing. You need to hit the join button, Drew. All right, we've got Gary Cannon here, sort of. Let me see, whose one is this?
This is mine, Your Honor.
Matt's. This one has a signature on it. I can tell who it is. Mr. Cannon is here by telephone only. This is file 20-36FY, People versus Kerry D. Cannon. Mr. Cannon is charged with use of methamphetamine. As we indicated, these are difficult. He was put on probation in February of 2020, which is a long time ago, and has done none. I'm sorry it took so long. We had a hearing set
sure what was going on.
2020, and you didn't show up. Wait a minute, this might be an old, is there a newer petition?
No, this petition stems from the incident that is from February or March of that year, where Mr. Cannon went AWOL.
So we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him since then, correct?
Apparently, it was supposed to be reset for when we were up and running with Zoom, and it didn't get noticed. I believe that's my understanding of why it's happening now instead of 8 months ago.
Well, that's embarrassing. All right. Basically, I put you on probation, and you've done nada. So Matt is simply recommending that I give you 90 days jail and revoke your probation. So where are you living right now?
At my mom's, 25039, US Highway 12.
Same address.
Yes.
Are you working?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of construction work, and I was wanting to get this, like, because it never got brought up, like I said, and never got no paperwork, never nothing. And when I just thought, like, they said I was clear, so I didn't know what was going on. And
Well, it sounds like we dropped the ball at our end. Some of this was COVID related. The hearing was March 24th of 20, and that's right when things got shut down. And then apparently,
remember,
go ahead.
when I worked at Main Street Cafe,
Yes.
there was an incident where I got released from, my attorney told me I was fine, and then I went to jail because there was another issue with the judge.
Yes,
Set
I
it
remember when you worked at Main Street. I haven't been in there since COVID yet. I used to like to go there for breakfast.
Yes, I missed it.
All right, Mr. Cannon, I think the safe thing, you haven't moved, you haven't gone anywhere. We just were in.
Because I didn't know if I could, I didn't want to.
All right, I'm going to appoint John Bush. If I gave you a drug test today, how would it turn out?
To be honest,
Yes.
probably not good. I mean, I haven't
All
done
right.
it today or yesterday, but I mean from like a week ago.
Well, we need to either get on the wagon or get off of it.
Yes, sir.
But you didn't do anything, and then you really didn't do anything. We were put on probation.
When I was supposed to go to court, that's when the COVID stuff happened, and they said the courthouses
Yes.
were closed. And then I haven't heard nothing ever since then, so I didn't know.
There's a lot of plausibility in what you're telling me, Mr. Cannon. And so we were in suspended animation for a year and a half. But I'm going to get Mr. Bush involved, your original attorney, and set a hearing and see if we can figure something out. You're still on probation, so I want you to call Matt. Let's see if we can get this thing back on track.
Okay.
I want you to call him here in about a half an hour. We'll be done with this. And we'll get on track and see if we can get this probation back on the rails. If we can't, we can always have you mow lawns at the jail as a trustee for the rest of the summer.
Okay.
All right. I've shown a plea of not guilty, appoint an attorney, and set a PV hearing. All right, and I want you to call your probation officer about 10 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, that leaves us with Miranda Rawson. Miranda, can you hear me? I see your ceiling there.
Yeah.
This is People versus Miranda Rawson. I've known Miranda since she was about 17, struggling. Charged with operating while intoxicated, reduced to impaired driving in this file 201085. You were put on probation, and Autumn Kiefer was your probation agent. She's here today. The allegation is you failed to abstain from the use of alcohol. You tested positive for marijuana on May 17th. You failed to participate in treatment. You've missed 2 appointments with treatment. You've also gotten new criminal charges. You got charged with driving suspended. You pled guilty to driving suspended on June 1st. You're not to violate any law of any unit of government. So you're driving around in a suspended license while you're on probation. You also had another one, 21448 is the one you pled guilty to. And you got another one, 21510, which is pending an attorney pretrial on June 18th. So you keep driving on your suspended license, and you don't really want to be on probation. So the allegation is that you violated your probation by testing positive for marijuana, not doing treatment, and getting 2 new driving suspended charges while you're on the probation. Autumn recommends that we revoke the probation, give you 4 days in jail, and get off your back. She notes that you've been on probation 4 previous times, and each of them have resulted in revocation. Ms. Rawson has no support system. She has an addiction to substances, and on top of all this, she's now taking care of her son. And I can see him toddling around in the background there. And I am aware, Miranda, you got very little support system. I've called you a sparrow in a hurricane more than once. You're just trying to make your way in the world. So, as I told the others, I'll tell you, you have a right to have an attorney to represent you in this matter. All you have to do is tell me, and I'll appoint one for you if you wish to plead not guilty. You can also simply admit the violation, and I would do what Autumn recommends, revoke your probation, order 4 days in jail, which would be served on weekends or other times scheduled by Autumn, so you could have childcare for your son. You're a nice young woman. You don't mean to hurt anybody. You're always polite, respectful to me, but you're overwhelmed by life. You really do need some treatment, and you need to try to get your life on track. So either way, Miranda, is okay with me. If you wish to have a hearing, I'll appoint a lawyer for you to help you. If you wish to simply admit, you've got to revoke your probation and order 4 days in jail to be scheduled on weekends. I'll wipe out all your remaining fines. Get off your back. What do you wish to do?
I'll get the probation revoked.
All right, I was guessing that's what you would do, and I got mixed feelings about it. Where are you living? Are you still on Antler Road?
No, I live with my baby daddy.
Which is where?
It's 1054 Cato Lane.
Okay. Other than what I told you here, did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
No.
Or threaten you?
No.
And you understand you could have a hearing on this if you wished, where it have to be proven beyond a preponderance that you violated the probation. The easiest thing is to use the new convictions. Did you get 2 driving suspended charges while you were on this probation?
Yeah.
Are you working somewhere?
Yeah.
Where are you working?
I work at Speedway in Sturgis.
All right, so you're living with your child's dad. That's a plus. That gives you a little more support. Does he work?
Yeah.
Where does he work?
He works in Indiana at an RV factory.
Is there anybody else that helps watch your son?
Mm,
Just you and him?
yeah.
Do
Sometimes.
his parents help?
No.
How about your parents?
My mom sometimes does, yeah.
This makes me sad. You probably feel the same way. You got any further input here?
No, I don't.
All right, 4 days jail credit, 0, leaving 4 days to serve, 0 fine and costs. I'm gonna wipe out everything that you owe to be scheduled by the probation department on weekends. As soon as we hang up, I want you to call Autumn and she'll schedule that. A weekend doesn't mean it has to be Saturday and Sunday. It can be some other time, or we can even do it 1 day at a time. I'm gonna get off your back, Miranda. You've got the other case coming up June 18th, which is Friday, with Judge Pattison on your new driving suspended charge. I guess if I could try to coordinate this and wipe out that jail time, but I'm not gonna do that. Judge Pattison did that. So do you remember you have court on Friday morning?
Yeah.
All right. How many hours are you getting at Speedway?
I just started, but I'm working full time.
Oh, like 8 hours a day?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's hard. Who's doing childcare while you're at work?
The father, he gets out of work when I go in.
All right. Well, that's rough. It's rough being a young parent. It's rough not having a lot of money. It's rough not having a driver's license. But I'm getting off your back. You're going to do 4 days in jail. It was deferred. You're not going to have to report. You're not going to have to pay. You're not going to have to test. And my hope is I don't see you for a while.
Yeah.
You probably feel the same way. All right. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
All right. Good luck. Judge Pattison will be seeing you on Friday the 18th.
Give me a call, Miranda, right now, please.
Okay.
All right. All right, we have one left, which is John Jennings, and that belongs to Daniel. I didn't think any of these people were going to show up. 4 out of 5 is pretty good. This one is a non-success. This is file 202608FY, People versus John A. Jennings. Mr. Jennings was charged with aggravated domestic assault, and as probation officer Daniel Frazine has prepared a probation violation petition. It alleges that he's failed to report on a monthly basis, failed to pay fines, costs, and oversight fees as required, failing to abstain from the use of alcohol or drugs and submit to test on demand, and failing to participate in treatment from the probation department, which makes this a 0 success. The defendant stopped reporting in February, and I'll read Daniel's last paragraph. This was an aggravated domestic violence class. The defendant has done nothing as far as complying with the terms of probation. He's not even taken the time to register with the anger management group, which he could have done over the phone. The complete lack of action tells this officer the defendant has no remorse, no desire to learn skills that can help him avoid similar situations in the future, a general lack of regard for the court or for this officer. Therefore, the officer recommends the remaining deferred days be applied as a sanction and his probation be revoked. Well, he's not here. Good morning. I'm calling for John Jennings.
Yeah.
Is this John Jennings?
Yes, yes. Why are you telling me, Judge?
What? Yeah, this is Judge Middleton. I'm calling you from the court in Centerville. You're supposed to be here for a probation violation hearing.
I had no idea that.
Um,
I got no notification. I'm sorry.
are you still at 731 Monroe Street?
No. I had to relocate because yeah.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your probation officer, Daniel, alleges that you have violated your probation by failing to report, failing to do treatment, or failing to do anything. And he's recommending that I revoke your probation and give you about 40 days in jail, waive all your fines and costs for doing a craptacular job on your probation. In fact, we sent you the notice. If you move, you're supposed to tell us. At least you didn't change your phone number, and I woke you up at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. Anyway.
I should have a treatment and everything else, Your Honor. I apologize. I had to go to rehab. I got back on dope. out of rehab now.
What were you struggling with, meth or opioids?
Meth and fake marijuana, which is like opiates. It's a drug that is a yeah, it is a codependent.
All right, you said baked marijuana or fake marijuana?
Fake.
Fake. Okay, like bath salts?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right.
Wow.
All right. My recommendation, since there's lengthy jail in your future, is that you get an attorney to help you with this and get your ducks in a row. I want to hear more about your treatment. But what I want you to do is I want you to call your PO, Daniel. Well, I'll tell you what, Daniel, I'll have you call him since I don't know if he remembers what the number is.
Okay.
I'm going to show you plead not guilty. It's easier than calling you up and waking you up than getting a bench warrant and trying to extradite you from Elkhart. You're on probation for what was an aggravated domestic assault and you've done none. So I'm glad to hear about your rehab and see what's going on. I'm going to appoint an attorney and set a PV hearing. And then Daniel is going to call and get current information.
Okay.
Now, the fact that you didn't get it is on you, not on us. You haven't reported since February. And if you moved, you didn't tell us. So we sent the notice to the only address we had. Unfortunately, your phone number is the same. So Daniel's going to call you in about 2 minutes. I want you to give him your current address, your email address, so we can give you your attorney and get this matter resolved, either with a probation where you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, or a revocation. I do understand when you get back on methamphetamine, it dissolves your desire to do anything else. Methamphetamine addicts can't function on day-to-day things that we take for granted, like calling up and making an appointment or showing up for treatment or paying anything. It's an all-consuming abyss. So we'll see what the deal is. And like I said, I'm glad I woke you up instead of issued a bench warrant that would just languish. We'll get this back on track. So Daniel, the number I used is the number that's on his stuff.
Okay.
Which ends in 4430. Is that the same number you have?
Yep. I will call that one.
All right, Mr. Jennings, I showed you pled not guilty. We're going to set this for a hearing and your PO is going to call you in about 2 minutes.
Thank you, Your
Got
Honor.
it?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Bye. All right, Matt, I don't have anything left.
No, do you have a quick minute? I got a question for you.
Yeah, let me shut down here and then I'll answer.
Yep.
it.
No
What's
problem.
on this dude? He said, "You sound like a judge."
Is that what he said? I didn't make it
Or
out.
maybe he said you sound like the judge. I don't know, but
Probably.
all right, we'll see what we do. Like I said, it's better than a bench warrant that'll just sit there.
Yeah, at least it wasn't that judge. You sound like that judge.
Oh, that guy. All right, so we'll get that. All right, I'm going to shut off the live feed. We do not have anything else scheduled for this morning, unless we get some telecoms or some walk-in stuff. I have a difficult landlord-tenant termination trial set at 1:15, but the attorneys are working on settling it. So I don't know if it's going or not. I'm open for settlement.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I'm going to end the live feed and